Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to discuss about the meristematic tissue, that is plant anatomy. First, let's know about what is plant anatomy. We all are known about the plant, but this anatomy, this is the study of internal structure of the plant, where we will discuss about the cells, tissues that are present within the plant body and that has important role in the development, growth and formation of even the entire plant. We know cells, the similar or dissimilar cells, form tissues. The group of tissues form organ, and the group of organ form the system, and system finally form the body. That might be the plant body or animal body. Have you ever thought that where are these cells formed from? These cells are formed from the biomolecules. And where are these biomolecules formed from? They are formed from the simpler organic compound or molecules such as carbon, nitrogen, oxygen. And this is the total formation from simpler or monomer form to the body that is complex form. Here, plant anatomy. In the plant anatomy, we are going to discuss two types of tissue. That is, one is meristematic tissue and the other will be permanent tissue. First, let's think about what is this meristematic tissue. Meristematic tissue. Meristematic tissue are those young and immature tissue that has the capability of cell division. Meristematic tissue are the young and immature tissue that has the capability of cell division. The word meristematic is derived from Greek word merion. This merion refers to divide. It has the flowing characteristics. Meristematic tissue has the flowing characteristics. The first tissue characteristics are they are immature and young. The other one is they are compactly arranged tissue. Compactly arranged. They are compactly arranged. The third one is, what do you mean by compactly arranged? Means the cells which combines to form meristematic tissue has no intracellular spaces. They are mostly found at the growing apex. Apex refers to terminal part of the plant. Any terminal part of the plant that has a capacity of cell division, that is called apex. The fourth is their cell walls are thin. Their cell walls are thin and simply made up of cellulose. These are the major characteristics of meristematic tissue. One of the other characteristic is that the cells of meristematic tissue consist of dense protoplasm. This denotes that the meristematic tissue are the living tissue, so they can divide and helps in the development and growth of the plant. Dense protoplasm and few or no vacuoles. In some there might be the presence of vacuole, but in most there is no vacuole. So we can say that simply we can in general form we can say that meristematic tissue does not store food. Now let's talk about the classification of meristematic tissue. Classification of meristematic tissue. The meristematic tissue are classified on the basis of their origin, position, and function. Origin, position, and function. We are not going to discuss so deeply as it is a fast review of the chapters that we have already studied, and it will be benefit for us to review once before going to exam hall. On the basis of origin. On the basis of origin, we have first is promeristem, or it is also called as primordial. We can understand through the name. Its name is promeristem. What does pro means? Here in the biology, the pro doesn't mean the very advanced. As in the PUBG, we all say that he's a pro player, but in the biology, pro does not mean advanced, but it means primitive or first formed. That either may be cell, tissue, or anything. In the biology, the sense pro gives primitive, which is the first formed thing in this world. But we are talking about the tissue, so it might be the first meristematic tissue, first formed meristematic tissue among all the other types. It is a group of meristematic cells which are found in their youngest stage. Remember, they are found in the youngest stage. At the beginning, I have already said pro refers to the first form. So these are the youngest cell. These are a group of youngest cells, youngest meristematic cells. These type of meristem originate from the embryo called embryonic meristem. Since these promeristem originate or develop from the embryo, we call it embryological meristem. It is found at the growing regions of shoots and roots. It is found at the growing region of shoots and roots. We understand that at growing region of shoots might be the apical apex of the roots of the leaf, flower, or any part of the shoot. But in case of root, the growing region of root is not the terminal or apex of the root. The growing region of root is subterminal part. Where is this subterminal part is present? Terminal is the last part, but subterminal is just below it. Here is root cap. Root cap does not take part in the growth or cell division. So the subterminal part is responsible for increasing the length of root. This is a very important question even for the medical students. This promeristem forms primary meristem. Primary meristem. Now let's talk about the primary meristem. As we have already discussed that primary meristems are formed from promeristem. It originates from the promeristem. Its cells are always in the active state of cell division, so it is called primary. Its cells are always in the active state of cell division, which give rise to primary permanent tissue. The primary meristematic tissue form primary permanent tissue. What is this process called? That is the process of converting or forming primary permanent tissue by primary meristem is called differentiation. Differentiation refer to meristematic tissue. If meristematic tissue give rise to permanent tissue or form permanent tissue, then for this process we call it differentiation. I hope you all understand this term differentiation. Let's talk about its opposite term. If permanent tissue converts to meristematic tissue, then this process is called de-differentiation. This process is called de-differentiation. Now, as promeristem form the primary meristem. Primary meristem forms this primary permanent tissue, and this primary meristem also form the secondary meristem. It's not the direct process. Primary meristem first form the primary permanent tissue, and this primary permanent tissue forms secondary meristem. This primary permanent tissue forms secondary meristem. As I have already talked that primary meristem form primary permanent tissue, and that is called differentiation. In the just opposite or reverse way, if the primary permanent tissue again form that secondary meristem, then this is called de-differentiation. Secondary meristem are found in the vascular region in the form of cambium. So it is found in the vascular region in the form of cambium. What does this cambium means? We will discuss later, because this cambium we are going to study this term even in the same topic. So just know for this period that it is found in the vascular region and in the form of cambium, and the word cambium we will discuss later. It gives rise to the way primary permanent tissue forms secondary meristem. The secondary meristem undergoes differentiation and form secondary permanent tissue. If you discuss about its example, then its example includes the example of secondary meristem are cork, cambium, interfascicular, vascular cambium, and vascular cambium of the root. I hope you all have understood up to this. Now let's divide and discuss about the division or classification of meristematic tissue on the basis of position. On the basis of position. On the basis of position, meristematic tissue are divided into three types. That is, first one is the apical meristem. What do you mean by apical meristem? Apical meristem, we can think here, we can understand from the two word apical and meristem. What does it apical mean? Apical means apex. Any growing part. Apical means any growing apex. This apical means any growing apex, and meristem, we have already discussed that the meristematic cells, it contains the meristematic cells that has the capacity of cell division. So apical means apex part that has the capacity of cell division, which helps in, as if the apex part, think about our body or even the plant, if the terminal or part of the shoots will have this apical meristem, then of course it's due to the division of the meristematic cells present in the apical meristem cause the increase in length of the plant. So apical meristems are responsible for increasing the length of plant. They are present in every part like which have every terminal shoots that have growing capacity. Now let's talk about its other type, intercalary meristem. Intercalary meristem. Intercalary meristems are present at the base of leaves and internodes. What do you mean by the term internodes? Internodes is the region present in between the two nodes, and we can see intercalary meristem is present in between the internodes. That means the base of internodes and base of leaves. It is for very short period of time at it further forms the permanent tissue. It is for very short period of time. The way the apical meristem has the function of increasing the length of the plant, in the same way intercalary meristem has the function of increasing internodal length or axis of plant. Internodal length or axis of plant. The other type is lateral meristem. Lateral meristem consists of meristematic cells at the lateral part of the plant. At the lateral part of the plant. Lateral meristem has a function of increasing girth or diameter and thickness of plant. A good example of lateral meristem is the vascular cambium in gymnosperms and angiosperm. What do you mean by vascular cambium? Vascular cambium in gymnosperms and angiosperm. It means that the vascular cambium means the part of cambium that consists of vascular tissue, that is xylem, phloem, and the other. The third classification of meristematic tissue is on the basis of Function. On the basis of function, simply talking, it also consists of three types. On the basis of their function, the meristematic tissues are divided into three types. The first one is protoderm. The second one is procambium, and the third one is ground meristem. Let's see in the figure. This is the outermost cells, and here we can see the vascular bundles, and this all is a ground substance. Here there are just cells, elongated small thin walled cells, and here are the elongated cells. Here is a small thin walled cells, and here is elongated cells, and this outermost cell is called protoderm. They form epidermis. The outermost cell is called protoderm. They form epidermis. This is the just below to the protoderm, there is a procambium. This forms the vascular system, vascular tissues, and in between, after the procambium, there is a ground meristem. We can see the ground meristem that are responsible even in between these epidermis, and even in epidermis and procambium, they in the between these two layers there is a ground meristem layer, and even this free layer also consists of ground meristem that has an important role in the formation of cortex, pericycle, endodermis, hypocortex, pericycle, pith, and medullary ridge. Then these were the three types of meristematic tissue. That is, first one was based on the origin, second one was based on the position, and the third one is based upon the what? Based upon the function. Now let's discuss about the permanent tissues. This is not the self-evolved tissue. They are derived from the meristematic tissue. When the meristematic tissue becomes mature, it lost the capacity of cell division and it forms permanent tissue. It forms permanent tissues. Discussing about the permanent tissue, a permanent tissue is defined as a group of cells that have lost the power of cell division and growth. These cells have attained their definite and permanent shape and size. These cells may be living or dead. They can have a thin wall or thick wall. The permanent tissues can be classified as a simple, complex, and secretory tissue. We can even while writing the note, we can include its characteristics as they may be dead or living. They may be dead or living. They have attained their maximum size and shape. They have thick wall. Now, this can be we can even include this in the characteristics of permanent tissue. Same as the meristematic tissue, permanent tissue are also classified into three groups. That is simple permanent tissue. Second one is complex permanent tissue, and the third one is secretory tissue. Simple permanent tissue is again divided into three types. That is, simple permanent tissue is again divided into three types that are, first one is parenchyma, second is collenchyma, and the third one is sclerenchyma. First one is parenchyma, second one is sclerenchyma, and the third one is second one was parenchyma and the third one is parenchyma. So I'm writing this third one and this is second parenchyma. In this video we will discuss up to the parenchyma. Here parenchyma is the type of simple permanent tissue. Parenchyma, it is a type of simple permanent tissue. Before discussing about the characteristics of parenchyma, let's discuss about the simple permanent tissue. This simple permanent tissue consists of a group of cells that are of same size and shape. Same size and shapes. They are the simple permanent tissue, and it consists of vacuole. It consists of vacuole in it. Same size and shape, so the cells of simple permanent tissue are also called as homogeneous cell. Now let's talk about the parenchymatous cells and parenchymatous tissue. Parenchyma, as we have already discussed, that it's a type of simple permanent tissue, so it is made up of same type of oval thin walled cells. Oval, that may be oval, spherical or polygonal in shape, made up of cellulose. Their cell wall may be made up of cellulose. It may be oval, spherical, containing cellulose deposition on cell wall. Its other function is it consists of vacuole. What is the function of vacuole in these parenchymatous cells? The vacuole is the first I want to say that parenchymatous cells has a major function of storage of food. It has different functions, but the measure of all the functions is storage of food. And what causes the storage of food in parenchymatous cells? The presence of vacuole. The presence of vacuole is responsible for the storage of food in the parenchymatous cell. This was also an important term and topic to discuss on. As I have already said that it has the main function of storage of food. Parenchyma is the most common simple permanent tissue in plant. It is made up of thin-walled living cells with or without intracellular spaces. They are made up of thin wall that may be that are living cells. Which may consist or may not consist intracellular spaces. Now let's talk about the types of permanent tissue. Types of permanent tissue. It has various types. The first one is parenchyma. What is parenchyma? Parenchyma is a special, or it's a type of parenchymatous tissue. Parenchymatous tissue, which consists of a group of parenchymatous cells that have chlorophyll, presence of chlorophyll. As if the chlorophyll is present, of course it has the function of photosynthesis. And if it is preparing the food, of course it will store the food. Now let's we have already discussed the function. There's a presence of chlorophyll, so it has major function of photosynthesis and even a small and even store the food in a small amount. Now let's discuss about its position or where they are found. Parenchyma, as it consists of chlorophyll, they are found in the young green stems, green fruits, and leaves. In the leaves, the parenchyma present in leaves is called mesophyll. This is important term, mesophyll. The parenchyma present in this is small important term, mesophyll. The parenchyma present in leaf is mesophyll. The mesophyll is differentiated into palisade parenchyma and spongy parenchyma. The first one is palisade parenchyma and another one is spongy parenchyma. Let's study it by considering its differences. What are the differences they contain? The both are the types of, not the types, but in the mesophyll there are two types of parenchymatous cells. The one is palisade parenchyma, another is spongy parenchyma. Mesophyll of leaves contain these two types of parenchymatous cells, palisade parenchyma and spongy parenchyma. So let's first talk about the palisade parenchyma and spongy palisade parenchyma. The cells of palisade parenchyma are columnar with intracellular spaces. We can find the two differences here. Palisade parenchyma, the cells, on the basis of cells, its cells is columnar. Its cells are columnar in shape, and their cells have no intracellular spaces. The two difference here, and in just opposite to this, its cells are oval or round, and they may or may not consist of intracellular spaces, but they have air cavities. Their cells are with air cavities. On the basis of cells and on the basis of intracellular spaces, we have two differences between the palisade parenchyma and spongy parenchyma. We are studying these in a mesophyll of leaf, and mesophyll of leaf is being studied under the topic parenchyma. So here, palisade parenchyma, on the basis of cell, we can consider differences between palisade and spongy, as palisade parenchyma are columnar. The cells of palisade parenchyma are columnar in shape, but the shape of spongy parenchymatous cells are oval or round. Here, intracellular spaces are their cells have no intracellular space. Here, intracellular spaces are absent, whereas in a spongy parenchyma they are with air cavities present in the intracellular spaces. Now let's talk about another type of parenchyma, that is parenchyma. Parenchyma. This means aren refers to air, and chyma, we know parenchyma. It means the parenchymatous cells containing large air cavities are called parenchymatous cells or parenchymatous tissue. It is also, as we are studying it in the type of parenchymatous cells, it is also a type of parenchymatous cells having wide air cavities called. So they are called parenchyma. They are mostly present in the hydrophytes, that is aquatic plant, and few are present in the terrestrial xerophytes, that are, for example, aloe vera. We can consider aloe vera terrestrial plant. Then what is the function of parenchymatous cells in the aquatic plant. And what is its function in the terrestrial plant? Let's talk. In the aquatic plant, parenchymatous cells helps to prevent, make them light so they can float. Another function is it provide buoyancy. What does this mean? This means upthrust. That is, it helps the plant to float on the surface of water. What is the function of parenchymatous cells in terrestrial plant? In terrestrial plant, it simply helps in storing water. As parenchyma are fully present in the few terrestrial plant, and it has a main function of storing water. The air cavities in the hydrophytes or aquatic plant as air cavities, so store gases, and as they are storing gases, they are also helping respiration, gases exchange within the cells. The other type we are going to discuss is parenchymatous tissue or parenchyma. Parenchymatous tissue or parenchyma. Parenchymatous tissue or parenchyma. Parenchymatous tissue or parenchyma are the type of parenchyma having a little thick wall. It's the living fiber-like elongated parenchymatous cells. Here it is living fiber-like elongated cells. It is parenchymatous tissue or parenchyma are very important for the formation of medullary rays and pericycle. These both terms we will discuss later in the other types of simple permanent tissue, because in this it is present just as a term, but in other types of simple permanent tissue we will discuss it as a topic. So instead of here we will talk about these terms in the other video or in the other type of the simple permanent tissue. The other type is xylem parenchyma. Xylem parenchyma, it is also called xylary parenchyma. Xylary parenchyma, it is also called xylary parenchyma or the xylary tissue. It consists of thin-walled, elongated parenchymatous cells. From the name we can consider it xylem parenchyma. It means that it is present in the xylem, and its major function is a storage of water and conduction of water. A storage of food and conduction of water. Not store the food for in a large amount, but in some amount it stores the food, but its major function is conduction of water. Now the other type is phloem parenchyma. Since xylem parenchyma is present in xylems, in the same way phloem parenchyma is present in phloem. It is also called extraxylary parenchyma. This might be new for us, but for us, yes, of course, this is new for us while studying in this studying, but its other name is extraxillary parenchyma. It is present in the phloem, same as the xylem parenchyma. It also thin-walled parenchymatous cells are present in it. It is found in the phloem. It helps in storage and conduction of food. This is very newly term to us. Not newly means we are very known about this function of phloem, and the function of xylem. It helps in storage as well as conduction of food in the various part of the plant. Now we are going to discuss about the two other type of the parenchyma which may not be found in the books. Let's talk. It is a epiblema. Epiblema, it is the lining. It is the lining of tissue. Some of it may even consist of roots. It is just a lining of parenchymatous cells, and it consists of roots. Its function is, since there is a presence of root in it, its function is absorption. Its function is absorption, as it forms the lining of cells. It also helps in protection and even helps to maintain the loss of water from the body of plant. That is transpiration. It maintains the cycle of transpiration. The other is idioblast. Idioblast, it has a major function of storing tannins and other substances. So while studying the types of parenchyma, we have already discussed about the function of parenchyma. With all the types, we are talking about the function along with their types. For example, the first type of parenchyma was chlorenchyma. Since they consist of chlorophyll, they are the function of photosynthesis. The second type was parenchyma. Parenchyma, since they consist of air cavities, their major function was gaseous exchange as well as make the body of aquatic plant light. That helps them in floating and provide buoyancy, that is upthrust. And in terrestrial form, it helps in storing water. The other type was parenchyma. They were the fiber-like cells, and the parenchyma helps in forming pericycle and medullary rays. Pericycle and medullary rays. The fourth one was xylem parenchyma, that helps in storage of food and even conduction of water. And the phloem parenchyma, that helps in conduction of food, and storage of food. The another one was epiblema, that helps in absorption and protection. The fourth one was idioblast, that store tannin and other products. Then these were the In this session, we just discussed about the meristematic tissue, type of classification of meristematic tissue on the basis of origin, position, and functions, and then permanent tissue, the types of permanent tissue, that is simple permanent tissue, complex permanent tissue, and secretory permanent tissue or specialized permanent tissue. In the three types, we just discussed about the simple permanent tissue. The simple permanent tissue was also divided into three types, that is parenchyma, collenchyma, and sclerenchyma. But in this session, we just discussed about the parenchyma and its types as well as its function. Thank you for watching the video. Please like, subscribe, and share.